All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're going to look at something really fascinating.
Okay.
It's this idea that really to understand something, you can't just read about it or listen to someone talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually do it.
I like that.
And it's something that comes up a lot in
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah, definitely. Especially these days, right?
Yeah. What's really interesting is that this is not a new concept.
Right.
This idea comes from, from ancient Hebrew wisdom.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize it went back that far.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, there's a phrase in Hebrew
Mm-hmm.
that basically means understanding through experience.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about knowing something intellectually, it's about experiencing it firsthand.
Exactly.
Uh,
And I think, we've all had this experience where we
Yeah.
thought we knew something, and then we tried to do it and we realized,
Mm.
oh, it's a lot harder.
Right, like much harder.
Or it's completely different than
Yeah.
I imagined.
I know. It's like when you read a recipe and think, oh, this looks easy, and then you actually try to make it disaster.
Exactly.
Or maybe, watching someone play the piano.
Right.
You think, oh, I can figure that out. And then you sit down.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Your fingers don't move that way?
Yeah, exactly. Muscles you didn't even know you had
Right.
start hurting. And you're like, wait, how?
Yeah, so this source that we're looking at today actually has a really memorable quote
Right.
about this concept of understanding through experience.
Okay.
It says, tell me and I forget. Show me and I may remember.
Okay.
Involve me and I understand.
Wow, that is really powerful. And it really drives home the point that true understanding requires active involvement, not just passive observation.
Yeah. And this isn't just like some philosophy
Right.
This is a practical idea. And the source actually talks specifically about the stock market.
Interesting. So how does this principle apply to something as complex as the stock market?
Yeah, I mean, you could spend years,
Right.
reading about, how the stock market works
Yeah.
and all the different strategies. You could look at charts until you're blue in the face.
Right.
But the source is saying until you actually
Yeah.
start placing trades.
You're not going to truly.
Yeah, you
I
don't
get
ground
it.
it.
Yeah. It's all theoretical.
Right. It's like you have all the knowledge, but no real experience to back it up.
Exactly. And the source uses this phrase,
Sure.
intellectual knowledge, right, to describe that kind of knowledge that
Right.
you get just from reading about something.
Got it. So it distinguishes between intellectual knowledge, the theoretical understanding, and the kind of deep knowing that comes from actual experience.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But wouldn't you say there's some risk involved in just jumping into something like the stock market without a solid foundation of intellectual knowledge?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But the source acknowledges that.
Yeah.
And in fact, they emphasize that mistakes can be
Yeah.
really valuable. Learning experiences.
Right. I mean, as long as you're learning from them and not just repeating the same mistakes over and over.
Exactly.
So how does the source suggest we approach this process of learning from experience in a way that's both effective and, well, maybe a little less risky?
Well, so it's interesting. The source says it's not about
Yeah.
just taking action,
Yeah.
blindly. It's about
Yeah.
taking calculated risks, observing the outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
and then being really honest with yourself
Yeah.
about
Right.
what happened, and then using that to refine your approach.
So it's a continuous cycle of action, reflection, and adjustment.
Exactly.
That's powerful stuff. But I'm curious, how do you see this understanding through experience idea applying to other areas of life?
Oh, it's everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
learning a new language,
Okay.
learning to play an instrument, you can read all the books, you can
Yeah. Right.
watch all the videos.
You can study the grammar, memorize vocabulary,
Exactly.
but until you actually open your mouth and try to speak or
Yeah.
pick up the instrument and try to play, you're not going to truly understand the nuances, right?
Yeah. You're not going to develop that fluency.
Exactly.
It reminded me of when I first tried to learn guitar.
Oh, okay.
I was so afraid of making mistakes
Yeah.
that I didn't want to actually play.
Right. You were stuck in the analysis paralysis.
Exactly. And it wasn't until I just
Yeah.
started strumming
Yeah.
and just let go that I actually started to
You started to get it. Yeah.
feel,
Yeah. And it was messy.
right?
And it didn't sound great at first. But
that's where the real learning happened.
Exactly.
You embraced the messiness,
Yeah.
the mistakes,
Yeah.
and that's how you actually made progress.
Exactly.
That's a great example. And it highlights another key point from the source,
Yeah.
the importance of embracing the process. Right. The source is basically saying, you got to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. You have to be willing to experiment, to make mistakes, to iterate. That's where the real growth and understanding happen.
It's not just about
Yeah,
the destination.
right.
It's about the journey.
I love that. It's not just about the end goal, it's about embracing the entire process of learning and growing.
Exactly.
That's what leads to true mastery.
Exactly.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What's one area in your life where you could really benefit from applying this principle?
Yeah, where could you step outside your comfort zone?
Mm.
Take action. Embrace the messiness.
Mm-hmm.
And actually deepen your understanding through experience.
It's a powerful question, and I encourage everyone listening to take some time to reflect on it.
This has been a great deep dive. I think it's given all of us a lot to think about.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time.